Welcome to today's edition of the Statler Financial Radio Show. Your financial security is our business. Have a question for the team? Call today, 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188.
Welcome to the Statler Financial Radio Show with founder and president of Statler Financial Services, Philip Statler. I'm Stephanie Griffin. For individuals who have already laid a strong financial foundation and are close or into retirement and maybe need a strategy to help structure your assets, give Statler Financial a call, 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188. How are you today, Philip? Are you doing well?
Hey, doing well, Stephanie. I had a little downtime week before last and excited about that and got to cruise around a little bit and, always enjoy getting away and just getting a little downtime. And we've built a couple of those in for the summer. I think towards the end of July, we'll take a couple of weeks and do a road trip, July and August. So,
nice.
Nice to kind of get out,
Yes.
and get some downtime. And even when I'm out, I'm still working. I mean,
I'm not surprised.
I have my laptop with me. Sometimes we have to update portfolios while I'm traveling. Sometimes I have to talk with clients, which is not a big deal. We build time in for that. And so it's important, right? That we need our downtime, but we also need to make sure we stay connected and we can accomplish both that way.
I love that. You've got a great work ethic. So that's what we want in a financial advisor for sure. Great work ethic. So today in this segment, we are talking about 5 important mistakes that can impact your future. So today, Philip Statler, he joins us as you know, and we're going to outline the obstacles and explain how to avoid them. Philip, what is the 5th mistake out of the 5? We're going to start with number 5. What is the 5th mistake?
So mistake number 5 is really underestimating healthcare costs. And many people fail to account for rising medical expenses, insurance premiums, prescription medications. You got to prepare for these things. And I know that one of the things that I've seen is that the cost of Medicare supplement insurance can increase substantially the older you get. I mean, it's kind of like a lost leader, right? You get in and maybe it's only $160 a month when you start at age 65. But I talk to clients that are like in their mid 70s and they're paying $350 for almost $400.
That's terrible.
For a Medicare supplement, that's only paying 80, it's only paying 20% of whatever the bill is. But it is something. It does continue to go up along with other healthcare issues. And retirees have Medicare Part D, which is prescription coverage, but then you got to play the game of, is my drug covered under this insurance company's plan, or do I have to change to a different insurance carrier? It's just, it's kind of a shell game when it comes to the prescription drug plans.
It's too bad they don't make that when you sign up to have that be your cost throughout the rest of your life. That would be convenient. That'd be nice.
That would be nice. Yeah.
No price gouges for sure. So what is mistake number 4, Philip, when we're talking about mistakes to avoid when planning for retirement? What is number 4?
So number 4 is failing to diversify your investments. Relying on a single asset or investment type can really expose you to some unnecessary risk. A diversified portfolio helps reduce volatility and preserves your savings over the long term. And I look at that diversification kind of in two segments, right? The first segment is how much risk do you have in terms of safety versus risk, right? That's the first area. And a lot of people will use the rule of 100, their age minus 100. That's kind of what they should have at risk. That's a good estimation, but that could be plus or minus 10 or 15%, depending upon your risk tolerance and what you need to be looking at from a risk perspective. But yes, too many people do not switch once they retire, they keep doing the same thing they were doing before they retired, and that can be detrimental.
Yikes, some great advice. We appreciate that. So you are listening to the Statler Financial Radio Show, and we're talking about mistakes to avoid. That's a key word there. Avoid this when planning for retirement. Philip, what is mistake number 3?
So mistake number 3 is accessing retirement savings too early. Early withdrawals not only incur penalties if you're not 59 and a half, but also can reduce the amount you have growing for the future. You got to be careful and consider that impact before touching those funds. I mean, I'm sitting here, here recently. I've had a couple younger guys that are, they've been saving in their simple IRAs and doing a good job of saving. And all of a sudden, I guess some emergency comes up and they need money and that's where they're taking it from. And so they're really depleting their whole retirement account. That means they're going to have to start all over again.
That's terrible.
And that's those guys, and they're not even in their 40s yet, right? So, and think about those people that are in their, mid 50s, and they take money out. They have to pay a 10% penalty. They have to pay, federal income tax. If they live in a state that has the income tax, they got to pay state income tax on it. So, it's a big number that you lose when you take that money out before you're 59 and a half. And I would encourage people to even go longer than that, obviously, right? Because Social Security doesn't kick in until 62. Some people that makes sense, but not everybody. And so we want to make sure that we are doing what's best for down the road in retirement. So look, folks, one of the things that's important when we head into retirement is having a plan. If you listen to our show any at all, you know that statistically, less than 30% of the folks out there actually have a written retirement income plan in place. And that reduces our confidence when it comes to retiring. That's why I developed the Core Retirement Design to help people design that retirement they always dreamed of. Give us a call right now and let's start that process for you so that you are comfortable heading into retirement. The number to call, 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188.
And you can also go to statlerfinancial.com and find out what Philip and his team are all about. We are talking about mistakes to avoid when planning for retirement. A lot of important information here from Philip Statler of Statler Financial. And you are listening to the Statler Financial Radio Show with founder and president of Statler Financial Services, Philip Statler. Philip, give us number 2 when we talk about the mistakes to avoid.
So mistake number 2 is not establishing a clear retirement budget. So think about it. Without a detailed plan of your expected income and expenses, it's easy to overspend, which then leads to quickly depleting your savings. So financial planning, retirement planning ensures that you stay on track and that you don't overspend. But that takes place because folks sit down and create a realistic budget. And I know that's not anything that anybody wants to do. I hate it. I'm the same way. I hate doing it. But it is important, especially when it comes to this part of your life, because you can't just say, I'll work an extra shift or I'll do overtime because you're retired. You're not working at all unless, well, I guess you could go back to work, right? I mean, that would be the other option.
Right.
And that kind of defeats the purpose of retiring, right, Stephanie?
Exactly.
And so let's get that budget put together and let's make sure we have a realistic budget in place heading into retirement.
Good insight. We appreciate that, Philip. And what if people practice that before they actually retire? I mean, maybe go a month or 2 months. Have you had people try that before, Philip, trying to do a budget?
That would be a really good idea. I think I have had a couple people that have put together a budget and have, tried to play around with it 6 months before they get ready to retire.
Right.
And tweak it. And so it's definitely a good idea to try.
Now we are going to talk about the number 1 mistake to avoid. What is that, Philip?
So mistake number 1 is delaying your savings. The earlier you begin, the more time your money has to grow. Compound interest can significantly amplify your savings. But time is the key factor. That is the factor that makes it work. I remember running illustrations back. If you started putting $25 a month away when you were 18 years old, what you would have had by the time you were 65 if you consistently did that month in and month out. It's the power of compounding that makes the difference. So for those younger folks out there, start now. Put money away. Take advantage of any retirement planning issues you have, 401ks, simple IRAs, 403bs, whatever you've got that you can add to on a consistent basis. The earlier you start, the better off you'll be.
That's exactly right. And I'll tell you,
want to start early.
Maybe grandparents could start something like this. I know my dad, for both of our boys, he has started a plan for the boys just to get them going on things. So it does help. It really does. Do you have any final thoughts to share with us about this?
Well, I think that retirement isn't just about finances. I mean, we talk a lot about that here on the show, but it's about building confidence and fulfilling the future, right? Doing the things you want to do and enjoying retirement. Avoiding these mistakes is important, but so is having a comprehensive plan in place. We're here to help individuals create strategies tailored to their lives and their goals, not their neighbors, not the guy next door, but for them specifically to make sure that they have the retirement they always dreamed of. Folks, listen, it is, sometimes it can be an undaunting task to do, but it's really not that difficult. It's a phone call and then a process. That will get you to the retirement you always dreamed of. Give us a call now to start that process. 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188. I'd love to spend some time with you to make sure that you can have the retirement you always dreamed of.
So if you are 5 to 10 years away from retirement, or you just got into retirement and like to see maybe what you're looking at when it comes to your retirement savings, call Philip Statler at 863-877-1188. And the Statler Financial Radio Show will be right back. Turn your plans of yesterday into yes today. Don't wait another day for a routine checkup of your retirement plans. Call Statler Financial Services, 863-285-3815. That's 863-285-3815.
Many people don't plan for long-term care until they have to. But long-term care isn't just nursing homes. It can include in-home care, assisted living, or ongoing support over time, and those costs often aren't covered by Medicare. That's why Statler Financial Services helps clients plan ahead, looking at how long-term care fits into a broader retirement strategy. Planning ahead is not about expecting the worst. It's about understanding your options. Call Philip Statler at Statler Financial Services today at 863-877-1188. Philip and his team offer guidance to clarify your choices and cost before you need to act, no matter what life brings. Now is the time to learn more. Call Statler Financial at 863-877-1188, or you can text VISIT to 863-877-1188.
Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, a SEC registered investment advisor.
Time to retire right. This is the Statler Financial Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Statler Financial Radio Show with founder and president Philip Statler of Statler Financial Services. If you are 5 to 10 years out of retirement or close to retirement and laid a strong financial foundation, get your complimentary visit by texting VISIT to 863-877-1188. That's VISIT to 863-877-1188. Every retiree worries about outliving their money. Many people try to ease that anxiety by saving more, working those few extra years, or keeping a close eye on what's happening in the stock market. But Philip, you believe there is even a greater risk that often goes unnoticed, kind of like a threat maybe that's hiding in plain sight. Can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, Stephanie, it's healthcare costs. Frankly, it can drain your savings year after year. It's not one big hit. It's a little bit every year, and that number keeps going up and up. Fidelity Research said a healthy 65-year-old may need as much as $172,500 out of pocket for medical expenses in retirement, not counting long-term care. Doesn't count that. Some people never see it coming because, like I said, it comes real slow. One copay here, one deductible there, one surprise bill there, one increase in your insurance this year, one increase next year.
Right.
We call this the healthcare heist. It's silent, it's relentless. Unlike a bear market, there's no recovery bounce. It doesn't come back. We don't get a discount the next year or two. The danger isn't the number itself. It's the failure to kind of plan for it.
Right.
Is the big deal.
So that 172,000 figure, it's enough to make anyone panic. I would be nervous about that too. But you've said that reacting in that way, we don't, panicking or kind of another word, paralysis, it's not the right move, not the right move at all. So how do you help people break through that fear?
Well, I think in terms of a lump sum lifetime of healthcare costs, again, and I've said this on several shows, that number is really misleading. Nobody's going to write a single check for $172,000, right? That's not going to happen.
Right.
So frame it. Maybe it's spread over 25 years of retirement. So that's $573 a month for one person. Significant, but it's plannable. You can make plans for that.
Sure.
On average, that monthly figure helps cover Medicare Part B, Medicare Part D premiums, copays, deductibles, uncovered expenses like dental and vision and hearing. Hearing aids are astronomically expensive when you start looking at that. So once it becomes a budget line item instead of a monster number, folks can plan for that. Fear breeds inaction. Facts breed strategy. The goal is always to help replace fear with a plan, Stephanie.
That's true. Very good point. Very good point, Philip. Mention Medicare coverage options, and many people are automatically confused. There's so many different terms like Medicare Advantage or Original Medicare, and people, they hear they must decide between the plans designated by letters of the alphabet, you could say. It could be pretty overwhelming for them. Can you help make this a little bit easier for our listeners to understand?
I'll try, Stephanie, because as we said, it can be confusing. So, a Medicare alone has significant gaps. There's a deductible, there's co-insurance. Medicare covers 80%. No out-of-pocket gaps. So there's different things there. Two main paths that there are. There's the original plus a Medicare supplement or Medigap policy, or there's a Medicare Advantage. Those are the two ways. You either go left or you go right. Medicare Gap, here's the deal. It has higher monthly premium cost, but covers most of the gap. It's predictable. You know what the budget's going to be. You know what you're going to have to pay. It gives you some greater certainty. Medicare Advantage, often low to zero premium, but it introduces copays for everything you do. Network restrictions. You may not be able to use your doctor, or the doctor or specialist you want to go to may not be on the network. And the annual out-of-pocket cost, there's a maximum that you're locked into that you can't go over, which is good. So neither is universally right. Medicare, you have two choices, left or right. Who knows? But it all comes down to budgeting. Having the budget that you need to have when it comes to that income. What income do you need to cover those medical expenses? Hey, look, it's easy is a process that needs to happen so that you have a written income plan in place. To get started, give us a call at 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188.
So for somebody sitting at home right now, Philip, maybe they're approaching 65 or already on Medicare. So how do you help them determine which path is actually right for them?
Well, I kind of just lay it out for them. I try to explain what each does, and then let them kind of make their own choice. I lay out the pros and cons. I try not to put my opinion in there because I have one, but it can get more expensive. I guess because I've seen people defer medical treatment because they're going to pay $500 a day for the first 3 days they're in the hospital.
Right.
As opposed to a Medicare supplement where it's going to pay, 20% that Medicare doesn't cover, and you don't have to worry about it. And so, yeah, they're paying more up front, but still, to me, that's my slant. I mean, I have clients that do both, but I've just seen, I've seen the bad side of the Medicare supplements. I mean, the Medicare Advantage plans, I guess.
So for somebody who already has a financial advisor, but isn't sure healthcare risks have been truly addressed, what is the value of getting a second opinion?
From what I've seen out there, I see diversified portfolios on the risk side, but I don't see that initial diversification between safety and risk. And so that's where I think it's a big value. And then looking to make sure that you don't have too much risk in the risk side of the portfolio. I think it's very valuable to get that because, you don't want to have the ups and downs. As a matter of fact, let me just tell you, I had a client the other day who I don't have all their money. And she called me and she said, Philip, my portfolio is supposed to be really conservative. And this last month, my portfolio was down, like $25,000.
Wow.
To me, that's not conservative. That's not safe. And so we're going to sit down this week and take a look at it. And so that's true. Sometimes having somebody else look at it and give you an idea of how much risk you really have in that portfolio. Mm-hmm. I think our core retirement design addresses the issues that retirees are going to have. The risk is a big issue that they're going to have. Taxes, they don't necessarily think they will, but taxes are going to be a problem for a lot of retirees. And so we look at that as well. How can we get our clients paying the least amount of taxes possible? And then that third leg is having an income plan in place that we know, here's where my income's coming from. Here's how much I can afford to take out of my portfolio without draining it, and with some guardrails on there. So I think it's vitally important that we follow that process. And it's easy. If you saved at least $500,000 or more, give us a call at 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188.
And we want you to stay tuned because in our next segment, we will talk about how to crash test your retirement plan against a healthcare event and explore the strategic tools, including a newer alternative approach to helping insure against long-term care expenses. The Statler Financial Radio Show will be right back.
Needing a second opinion on your retirement plan or to see if you're paying more than your fair share to Uncle Sam? Schedule your complimentary visit today. Text VISIT to 863-877-1188. That's VISIT to 863-877-1188.
The market goes up, it goes down, but retirement keeps going. And when you're close to retirement, those swings can feel very different. At Statler Financial Services, our planning focuses on helping plans stay aligned through market movement, so short-term volatility doesn't disrupt your long-term plans. It's about balance, income planning, and staying disciplined through changing markets. Call or text VISIT to 863-877-1188 now for your free risk analysis from Philip Statler at Statler Financial Services. If you're nearing retirement or already there, now's the time to review your strategy. Take the first step. Get your questions answered before the next market volatility takes a chunk out of your portfolio. Call or text VISIT to 863-877-1188. That's VISIT to 863-877-1188. Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, a SEC registered investment advisor.
Welcome back to the Statler Financial Radio Show with founder and president Philip Statler. Before the break, we uncovered how healthcare and long-term care can quietly devastate even a well-funded retirement plan, and how some plans never account for it. So during the break, Philip, you mentioned that a written retirement income plan is an important key tool for tackling this. Why is a written plan so powerful?
Well, it's easy to say something and then you forget it, right? So
Sure.
a verbal plan isn't enough. You need it documented. You need a model plan that shows you what can potentially happen under pressure. Think of it as a financial stethoscope. It lets you listen to the heartbeat of your retirement and hear where the weak spots are. And then once you know there's some weak spots out there, then you can help, right? The plan turns abstract fears, what if I get sick, into concrete numbers that can be measured, modeled, and addressed. So without a written plan, healthcare risk is a ghost, scary, but invisible. With a plan, it becomes better known. It's a variable with a strategy attached to it and how we're going to deal with it.
So once you know the number, the minimum amount they need to cover their essential living expenses, how does that help when it comes to managing their healthcare expenses?
Well, it gives us an idea of, starting with that baseline.
Right.
Your current plan projects your money last age of 98. Great. Now let's stress test it. Let's put it under pressure. Let's see what would it have done in 2008. How would that have affected your scenario? Introduce things like long-term care to the scenario at age 85. One spouse needs 3 years of assisted living at today's cost. Well, what does that do to the plan? Can it survive? Watch the red line move. The ages at which savings run out may shift from 98 to 91 in that scenario. Now, the risk is no longer abstract. It's a number on the page, and that number can be addressed with a strategy on how we're going to resolve that. The crash test doesn't create fear. It really helps create clarity. And that clarity is a foundation of a good financial decisions to be made.
So once someone identifies a soft spot in their retirement plan or notices that their red line keeps shifting, what are some of the strategic tools or options available to help fill that gap and protect their long-term financial security?
First, you have to take an inventory.
Right.
What's already there, what's available, right? So security income, pensions, annuity income. What are my predictable income sources that are going to continue regardless of whatever health event I'm having? Do I have health savings accounts, HSA, tax-free contributions, tax-free growth, tax-free withdrawals for qualified medical expenses? Dedicated cash reserves, kind of like a healthcare bucket that sits separate from investment assets. It's earmarked specifically for medical costs. And so then consider different types of insurance that can maybe help cover some of those gaps.
And you are listening to the Statler Financial Radio Show, if you've just tuned in, by the way. So it's been reported that just 3% of Americans over the age 50 have any forms of long-term care insurance protection, leaving many people on the financial hook to cover these expenses on their own. Philip, can you explain why this is true and some other options people might be wise to consider?
Well, I think the main reason that those facts ring true today is that traditional long term care insurance is viewed as a use it or lose it, pay premiums, and if care is not needed, the money's gone. And let's not forget how expensive it is. Who knows if it's expensive? Who knows what you're going to be able to afford, and whether that's going to even be enough to cover long term care, nursing home expenses, for that matter. There's hybrid or linked benefit policies and that's a combination of life insurance, death benefit, with a long term care rider. That can be a very beneficial combination. You don't have to worry about anybody losing out. Somebody's going to get a benefit, whether it's you needing long-term care or it's your beneficiaries, your family, getting the death benefit tax free. If you need long-term care, you can access a portion of that death benefit while you're alive to pay for your care. If you never need care, the full death benefit, again, passed to your beneficiaries, generally income tax free. Again, a couple things. You have to be healthy enough to qualify for the life insurance,
Right.
which has been an issue for me before. So all of this really wraps into planning. And there's different ways to skin the cat when it comes to long-term care. And so don't think that, I have to spend down on my assets so that I can qualify for long-term care. I mean, that is one way and one method of doing it. It's not the only method. Give us a call. Let us help walk you through that process of helping you plan on the whole process. Planning for long-term care is part of the income planning when you really think about it. Give us a call at 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188.
And you're listening to the Statler Financial Radio Show. Philip, I bet you have a lot of people coming in to your office, first-time folks that feel a little overwhelmed by all of this talk that you've been telling us today. And so where do you start with those folks who come into your office?
Well, we start with gathering facts, right? And finding out where they are. What are they trying to accomplish? What have they saved? What are their expenses? What are their income going to be in retirement? We take all of that and gather all that information, and then start the planning process. And sometimes as we start the process, we have to reach back out and say, well, what about this? How much does this cost you? Or do you happen to have this? Again, it's a process that we walk through and to get that final result. And the final result's just a starting point again to start the what ifs. What if this or what if that? What if I ended up in a long-term care facility? What if I wait and don't take my Social Security until I'm 70? So there's all kinds of things that we walk through when we walk through that planning process. I want to just go back just a little bit because I feel like when we talked about long-term care a minute ago, we talked about two of the main things, long-term care insurance and life insurance with the long-term care benefit.
Right.
But there's some interesting new things coming out now that really are unique and beneficial when it comes to long-term care. There are some long-term care annuities as well that, depending upon your health, when you start, you can get double, triple, quadruple what you put in for long-term care benefits. And so that may be an even easier way to help offset the fear of what if I need long-term care. So that in year 10, I know what my long-term care benefit's going to be. Maybe it's $8,000 a month if I need to be in a long-term care facility, or I have to be in assisted living, or I need care at home. It covers all those things. So it is unique, something that maybe people need to look into. The one thing that I will say is you have to use what we call non-retirement money to do it. It's kind of like life insurance. You can't use an IRA to fund life insurance. You can't use an IRA to fund this as well. But it is an area I think more and more people need to look at because it is a way to get some, not just sit there waiting. It kind of multiplies your money when it comes to needing long-term care, Stephanie.
Right. It seems like things are changing all the time. And I'll tell you, in order to keep up with that, the person you should talk to is Philip Statler from Statler Financial Services. Give him a call and set up that first visit. Free visit, by the way, at 863-877-1188. So if you do have questions about your retirement or your health care, things like that, 863-877-1188. And Philip, for the person listening now who's never had their retirement plan stress tested against a healthcare or long-term care event, what is the first step they should consider today?
Well, I think it gives you peace of mind once you walk through that stress test process, because you then know one of two things. Either one, I've got a problem, I need to come up with a strategy to fix it, or two, I can handle it, right? It's I've stress tested it and I can handle it, or maybe I can handle it for so many years. It gives you peace of mind once you go through that process and have either figured out, well, I need to fix something or I'm good, right? You kind of got two outcomes there. So, as we kind of close out this segment, Stephanie, let's just kind of walk through our process here at Statler Financial. We call our core retirement design. It's something we worked on for many years, working to put this thing together. But it really looks at three things that most retirees find stressful. And so we put it all together. First is risk. Again, having the right amount of risk for you can make all the difference in the world. And that comes to diversification. And there's two types of diversification. The first line is how much of your portfolio should be safe, how much of it should be risked at the market level. And everybody should have something in the market, whether that's 10% or 50%, right? That comes down to you as the individual. And then how do we allocate or diversify the risk bucket? That's the second step of that process. The other thing that comes into play in our core retirement design is taxes. So many people don't understand that, yes, even in retirement, you are going to pay taxes. And if we can lower those taxes for you and your family, that's that much more that will go to them and not to Uncle Sam. And then finally, putting together that income plan, making sure that you are comfortable and confident that you have the income you're going to need in retirement. To get started, give us a call at 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188.
All right, Philip, some great information on the show today. We really appreciate that so much. The Statler Financial Radio Show will be right back.
Many people don't plan for long-term care until they have to. But long-term care isn't just nursing homes. It can include in-home care, assisted living, or ongoing support over time, and those costs often aren't covered by Medicare. That's why Statler Financial Services helps clients plan ahead, looking at how long-term care fits into a broader retirement strategy. Planning ahead is not about expecting the worst. It's about understanding your options. Call Philip Statler at Statler Financial Services today at 863-877-1188. Philip and his team offer guidance to clarify your choices and cost before you need to act, no matter what life brings. Now is the time to learn more. Call Statler Financial at 863-877-1188, or you can text VISIT to 863-877-1188.
Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, a SEC registered investment advisor. The market goes up, it goes down, but retirement keeps going. And when you're close to retirement, those swings can feel very different. At Statler Financial Services, our planning focuses on helping plans stay aligned through market movement, so short-term volatility doesn't disrupt your long-term plans. It's about balance, income planning, and staying disciplined through changing markets. Call or text VISIT to 863-877-1188 now for your free risk analysis from Philip Statler at Statler Financial Services. If you're nearing retirement or already there, now's the time to review your strategy. Take the first step. Get your questions answered before the next market volatility takes a chunk out of your portfolio. Call or text VISIT to 863-877-1188. That's VISIT to 863-877-1188. Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, a SEC-registered investment advisor.
Welcome back to the Statler Financial Radio Show with Philip Statler is with me right now. Over 2 decades of experience in financial services. I think that's terrific. And we are kind of getting into the fun stuff here with the mailbag questions. I love these, Philip. These are a lot of fun and some really good questions from the listeners as well. So let's go ahead and get started on this. Our first question is from Jean from Sebring. Jean asks, I'm still quite a few years away from retirement, but I have no idea what my savings target should be. How much might I need to save so I can have a comfortable retirement? That's a common question, isn't it? A lot of people are wondering that.
It is. It's a very common question. You know, we talk about a lot on the show, but it's the wrong question, right? So we need to look at it from a different perspective because we don't know how much you need until we know how much you're going to spend, right? So the key is spending. What does your spending budget look like in retirement? And that's the key. And nobody likes a budget. I get that. I don't like it either.
The horrid B word, yeah.
That's right. Nobody likes that word. But you have to have an idea of what you're going to be spending in retirement. Whether that's I need a new boat because I want to go fishing all the time, or hey, I'm playing golf like it's my job. I have a client that did that, right? They played golf 5 days a week. That was their job. They took the weekends off. And so, so that's the first thing to look at is how much money am I going to need for spending on an annual basis? And once I get that number, then I can help you figure out how much you need to have in your bucket at retirement to pay for all the spending. So that's the key, Gene, is tell me how much you're going to need to spend on an annual basis.
All
then
right.
I can tell you what you might need to have saved for a comfortable retirement.
Our next question, Mike from Avon Park. Are rental properties a good source of income for my retirement?
You know, they can be. I don't know if you've ever been a landlord before. I have.
No.
I hated it.
Unless you include my 2 boys.
So I would say yes, they can provide, especially in today's marketplace where rentals in our community are short supply, meaning you can get a good rent. You can get good cash flow on your rental. But you have to ask, do you want to manage it? Do you want to pay somebody to manage it? Do you want to be a landlord? There's good and the bad, right? And from a tax standpoint, it can be really good. One of the issues, though, a lot of folks have is all their money's in an IRA. And the only way that I would say that it really makes sense today in the high interest rate environment we're in is you got to pay cash or mostly cash for that rental house for the cash flow. So, so if everybody's money is sitting in a traditional IRA, then they got to pay the tax to go buy the property. And sometimes that just doesn't make sense because of the tax liability you're going to have in that process. So though rental property can provide good cash flow and it can provide some tax advantages, the downside is that we usually don't have the cash to pay for it. So we end up with a mortgage and interest rates right now are pretty high. So that eats into our cash flow. And so that's kind of a negative. And then do you want to be a landlord? Do you want to pay somebody to be the landlord for you? Either way, it can be, fixing stuff back up after people move out. Like I said, I've done it.
It
I don't think I'll do it again.
Seems like a lot of work.
So, it is a lot of work.
You want to retire to go enjoy life, and it just seems like so much work.
Hope that helps.
Appreciate that, Philip. We are listening to the Statler Financial Radio Show now. We'd love you to call Philip and ask him any kind of question you'd like, or you can even text the word VISIT to go talk to him and have your free consultation at 863-877-1188. That number again is 863-877-1188. And I love the fact that you are right here in Sebring, Florida, and people listening now, they're not listening to somebody across the United States. You're right here in their own backyard. And I have Bill from Lake Placid, question from him. He says, I think I have a pretty good handle on our financial retirement, but I'm worried that I'm missing something. Do you have some sort of checklist or to-do list to help make sure I'm not forgetting anything?
I wish I did. I did it one time, and it kind of got obsolete, and I never revised it and put it back together. But I'd love to sit down with you, and we can go through where you are and see if there's some things you can tweak, or some things that maybe you can do to put yourself in a better position. I don't have a problem with that, just to make sure that that you're doing what you need to do and are on the right track. A lot of folks, though, when they hit that retirement stage, they're ready to hand that plan off to somebody else, right? Because, well, you're retired to quit working, not to have to keep an eye on, your finances and your portfolios and make adjustments and, those type of things. And so I'd love to sit down with you and make sure that you're on the right path, to making sure that you're going the right direction, have an income plan that's really going to provide the income you need throughout your lifetime. And just make sure that you're going to pay the least amount of taxes possible. A lot of people, they'll put together a financial plan, an income plan, but they forget about the tax aspect of retirement.
That's a biggie for sure. Give Philip a call, 863-877-1188. That number again is 863-877-1188. These questions are from you, the listener, folks that are getting ready to retire or maybe already in retirement. Jeff from Sebring wants to know, if I'm retiring in the next 5 years or so, is it more important to max out my contributions to my retirement accounts, or should I focus more on building up my emergency fund? Really good question.
That is a good question. So I think you have to look at it in two ways. If you cannot do both, ideally you should do both, right? You should max out your contributions to your retirement plan and build up your emergency fund. Now, the question is, how much do you think your emergency fund needs to be? My opinion, and my opinion only, is I think that in retirement, you should have an emergency fund of somewhere around $25,000, no more than $50,000. There's no reason to have more than $50,000 sitting in a bank account somewhere. So that's kind of my criteria that I look at. And so if you're not there yet, I would probably start splitting them, right? Splitting them from your retirement accounts, half of it into your emergency fund, and let's see in the next 5 years if we can't get to at least $25,000 in the emergency fund. Once you do, then you flip it, start putting everything in the retirement account so that you've got the most you need there. And then it's a process, Jeff, of putting together an income plan to make sure that the amount you have in your retirement accounts is going to be enough to get you through retirement. And so that's, I think that would be a good goal to accomplish. If you can, next 5 years, end up with $25,000 in an emergency fund and put as much as you can into your retirement accounts, building both of them up would be beneficial for you to retire in the next 5 years. Now, I don't know how old you're going to be in 5 years, but the other thing that you need to look at is, when do you take Social Security? If you're not going to be 67 yet, then maybe we don't want to take our Social Security yet. I mean, that's another area of planning when we do our income planning is looking at when should you take your Social Security? What does it look like if I wait? And looking at those key aspects of income planning process is making sure that we're using our money the best way possible. And Social Security is a big deal. It's a big part of our retirement income. And again, that's part of our core retirement design, the income plan portion, is we look at the income planning, our pensions, our Social Security. How do those things all fit together to produce the income we're going to need in retirement? To get started, it's a simple phone call. Give us a call at 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188. I'd love to spend 30 minutes with you on the phone, making sure you're making the right choices when it comes to your retirement. That number one more time, 863-877-1188.
So after that initial conversation on the phone, and if they do decide to become a client, or if they just want to come in and visit a little more with you, what do they expect? What can folks expect when they come and talk to you?
So after the phone call, if it looks like there's some way or somehow we can help them, then we'll have them come in and go through our core retirement design process. And the first part of that process is a project where we put together a risk assessment of their current portfolio. We put together a tax plan to make sure that we can convert things to a Roth IRA, and making sure that we're being very conservative on our numbers to make sure that we make that conversion and pay the least amount of taxes possible. And then the third leg is putting together that income plan. So we put together an income plan that says, hey, look, here, based on where you are today, here's how much money it looks like you should be able to take out or have to spend, including your Social Security and your pension. Here's the number that you should be able to spend in retirement. And that gives you that confidence to know that you're not going to run out of money and be in good shape throughout retirement.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate it. And it was great talking to you today, Philip. Thank you so much.
All right, Stephanie, thank you very much. And I look forward to next week.
Sounds good. And don't forget, you could give him a call, 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188. Thanks again. And we will talk to you next week on the Statler Financial Radio Show.
Needing a second opinion on your retirement plan, or to see if you're paying more than your fair share to Uncle Sam? Schedule your complimentary visit today. Text VISIT to 863-877-1188. That's VISIT to 863-877-1188.
Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, a SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine what investments are appropriate for you, please consult with a financial advisor. Second Half Financial Partners, LLC does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax or legal advisor regarding your particular situation. This radio show is a paid placement.
Who likes uncertainty? Wall Street certainly doesn't. With fears of a potential recession and partisan politics, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. What will your future look like? Will your taxes go up? Will your savings go down? Here in the Sebring area, financial advisor Philip Statler and the team at Statler Financial Services have seen uncertainty come and go. Philip can help you create a plan designed to preserve your finances in uncertain times. And it's not a matter of if those uncertain times will show up, but when. Call 863-877-1188 now to meet with Philip Statler and the team at Statler Financial Services. Call 863-877-1188 and schedule your visit today. 863-877-1188. Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, a SEC-registered investment advisor. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.